Hello and good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Phil from the National Literacy Trust, and we're here to celebrate the end of non-fiction November. So welcome, everybody. Now, if you're like me, you'll enjoy reading and writing non-fiction. That's, finding out facts, discovering more about our world, and really whatever it is you're into. Now, today, we're very lucky to have with us the editor of one of the best and most famous non-fiction magazines. It is National Geographic Kids. And the editor's name is Tim Herbert. So let's waste no more time and say good morning, Tim.
Good morning.
Morning, hi. Tim. How are you today?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so here we are at the end of non-fiction November. And I wondered, now many children will, of course, be familiar with National Geographic Kids magazine, but some might need a bit of an introduction. Would you be able to give us a bit of a rundown, a bit of a guided tour of the magazine?
Yes. Well, Nat Geo Kids has been going for quite a long time now, for 16 years. And we're written for children aged 7 to 12 or 13. It's all about wildlife, nature, the environment. We talk about history, geography. We just basically want to try and get kids as excited about the world as we can. So we're full of features, facts, and gorgeous photos. That's the most important thing. We want you to open the magazine and go, wow.
Fantastic. Yeah, I've got my copy here. And it comes in a little packet, and inside, of course, all these free gifts. So in the latest edition, there are some fantastic things, little things you can put on like this, like shark mouths, different animals, things for your door. So not only get the magazine, you get all these free things, stickers. Now, Tim, I was wondering, how do you make the decisions about what you include for the freebies in the magazine? Because there's been a bit of a change over the last few months, hasn't there?
Well, yeah, for a while ago, most magazines used to have plastic gifts, and we were that as well. We had plastic gifts on the magazine, but we realized that they're not eco-friendly. So we've removed all the plastic gifts from the magazine, and all our gifts are now paper-based. So booklets, door hangers, the funny face masks. We try and get as much environmentally friendly content in the magazine. In the old days, there used to be the magazine used to be packaged in a plastic envelope. So when you went into the shop, you were faced with a plastic bag with the magazine full of plastic toys. But that doesn't happen anymore now. We really want to be as environmentally friendly as we can be. So it's a paper envelope that goes in the shops. And then all the gifts are paper-based gifts. And we try and theme them around the issue. So the one that you've got there is Halloween. So that's where we had Halloween-based stickers. For the ocean special, which is in the summer, we'll try and do sort of ocean-based gifts, booklets. And it's great fun. We put those together as well as the magazine. So we're writing, for example, a joke book that came out with one of our previous issues, events around the world, funny events around the world. Lots and lots of fun, but always good for the environment.
Fantastic. Yeah, you definitely got that kind of eco message running throughout the magazine.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder, Tim, could you tell us a bit more about your background? So you've not always worked for National Geographic Kids. You've done different writing on different subjects. Can you tell us a bit more about how you got where you are today?
Yeah, well, I started many years ago when I had hair. I went to university and I did an English degree. And then I went to journalism school and studied magazine journalism. And after getting that qualification, I just did work experience, worked as an intern. I don't know whether you've heard of a magazine called The Big Issue. That's a magazine that is helping people who are homeless. I did 2 weeks work experience there, and then 2 weeks work experience on a music magazine and a men's magazine. And all I was doing was opening the post, making the tea, general jobs, anything that the other staff members wanted me to do. And one day a member of staff was ill, and they said to me, Tim, can you please write a very short story for the magazine? and they liked it. And suddenly it kind of opened a door. It was amazing. And they asked me to research a story and then write another story. And then things slowly snowballed from there. So I started off as a freelance writer, and I worked for children's magazines, among other magazines. And then, just it's kind of who you know, and your reputation, I suppose, goes with you. So they liked what I'd written, and then things came. And I joined Creature Media to work on a football magazine called Kick, which many of your kids in schools probably know. It's a good, fun football magazine. And then we won the license to print National Geographic Kids from National Geographic Society in the US. That was very exciting. So we launched in 2006, and I've been working on it ever since.
Fantastic. Yes, so it's been your job not just to write about wildlife or creatures, but football. I've noticed films as well, all these kind of things that the people watching might be interested in. And it was your job to find out more about those things and write about them.
Yes.
So why do you think non-fiction is a great job to have? Why do some people prefer to write and read non-fiction to fiction?
I think everybody's fascinated about the world. Personally, I love finding out information about different subjects. I'm not a scientist. I have got no scientific expertise whatsoever, but I'm fascinated by nature and by animals and by wildlife, and just finding out stuff about all of these amazing creatures that are around the world. It's wonderful. And it's so nice to have that balance between fiction, which is the imagination, and then fact. And you can combine them really nicely as well. But I just love facts, everything about facts, quirky facts, fun facts, silly facts. And animals is my big passion. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think you're right. It's that combination of the imagination with the real facts that make things like this interesting, not just National Geographic Kids, but, horrible histories and all that, making it all fun, bringing it to life.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Now, so if any of the children listening and watching today, if they want to follow in your footsteps and be a journalist or write non-fiction, what do you recommend they do? What kind of things do they need to practice?
I would just go around reading as much as you can. So I go online for a lot of the information that I look for, but go and speak to people as well. Find out information. If you go to a zoo, go and speak to somebody in the zoo and find out about those creatures in the zoo. Ask questions, and always ask questions that don't give you a yes or no answer if you can do. Try and ask an open question. So rather than was it exciting looking at that lion, you're going to get a yes or a no. So how did you feel when you saw that lion? How did you feel when you ask those sorts of questions, so that you can get a more interesting answer? And that's really important when it comes to being a factual writer.
Fantastic. Yes. So ask open questions, a really good tip, and be curious about the world and go out and find out different things.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But what about kind of fake news and things? Do we need to check our facts? How do you do that?
Yes, we do. We absolutely need to check our facts, and it's going to reputable sources for those facts. In the old days, before the internet, we used to have to go to the library and read lots and lots of books to do the research. Now we can go online, and it's very easy to be led the wrong path. So it's always good to double check, triple check facts. If you see something that seems a bit not sure about it, try and cross-reference with another website or another source to see if you can back that up. And keep asking questions. If something seems a bit too strange, maybe it isn't true. But yeah, just keep asking those questions and looking at different websites to make sure that what you're reading is correct.
Fantastic, great advice, lovely. It's great to see some questions, open questions being typed in as we speak down the chat there. So if you do have questions for Tim, we're going to do our Q&A a little bit later in the session. So get thinking of some. You can put some in now as we're chatting. And very soon we're going to have a little quiz, so get yourself ready for that as well. Brilliant. So now, as we mentioned, in the magazine, it does have a lot of kind of eco messages in there about the environment, etc. So Do you think that young people today, the readers of the magazine and those watching, can they make a difference? Can they be activists? And how does the magazine help with that?
They can absolutely be activists. Yes, absolutely. I mean, what's lovely is that from the stories that we write in the magazine, we get children writing in saying that we've inspired them and that they've gone out and they've done something, they've made a difference in their life, even if it's just walking to school rather than getting in the car to school. Little things can make a really big difference. We want to try and inspire positive actions in children. So recycling, making little things like that a part of your daily life are really, really important. Cutting down on the amount of plastic you use, drinking out of a reusable water bottle rather than a plastic water bottle. Tiny things are really, really important. And as a child, you're really, really valued and listened to. Companies listen to children. So if you're worried about something, speak to your parent, speak to an adult and write them a letter, write them an email and complain about something that you're not happy with. If you see plastic toys on the front of a magazine, get in touch with that magazine publisher and write them a little letter and just say, please, can you take your plastic gifts off the cover or whatever? Because children are really, really powerful. And they make a big difference. And the future's really quite bright, actually, with the amount of letters we get from children talking about how they are doing their bit, even if it's buying less meat in the shops, just cutting down on stuff. It's brilliant. Amy and Ella Meek, I don't know whether you've had them here before. They do Kids Against Plastic. They've been a really big inspiration to us and to children around the country and around the world. And there are loads of teenagers and youngsters who've gone far and are making a big difference now with what they're doing.
Absolutely. So children's voices are powerful, they're important.
Really.
You can use National Geographic Kids as a platform, or write to companies and politicians and whoever can make a difference.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Brilliant. So we're nearly ready for our quiz. Just one last question before we do that. So you are the editor of National Geographic Kids. So it's not just writing, you're also involved with other bits as well, like the design, the illustration, photography. Can you tell us a bit more about the job of editor and what that means?
Yeah, as an editor, I'm responsible for the overall feel of the magazine. So I work with a designer. Our designers are absolutely amazing. Quite a lot of the time I just let them get on with it and then they will come up with this amazing design and I'll like it or not like it and we can make changes to the design according to our wishes. But the words are really, really important. So if a story's been written and it doesn't make any sense when it comes over to me, then I can ask the writer to have another go to see if they can improve it a little bit, or I can actually do that myself. I can fact check it, spell check it. Proofreading is really, really important, is making sure that your sentences make sense, making sure that the puzzles make sense and all the little details are correct. If we have a fact on one page of the magazine and then we talk about the same animal elsewhere in the magazine, we have to make sure that those facts are the same and there's, everything fits perfectly. So as an editor, yeah, that's you're in control of the whole thing, really, I suppose.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Some great answers there. Really interesting. So now it's time, everybody, for our quiz, our poll. Can we have the first question up? So what we'd like you to do is, I'm going to ask you the question. It's based on the latest, or my latest edition of National Geographic Kids. Have a vote in your classrooms. Which one are you going to vote for? And then we'll see an answer in a couple of minutes. So the first question is based on this feature here from the magazine. It's all about penguins. So, the noisy African penguin can make a sound like which other animal? Do you think it's a donkey? Do you think it's an elephant? Or do you think it's a velociraptor? So which animal does the noisy African penguin sound like? Have a vote in your classroom. While they're doing that, Tim, can I just ask, how do you decide which creatures and wildlife to feature in the magazine?
Penguins are one of my favourites, so I love them. But it's all about the time of year, really, as well. You wouldn't really put a penguin on the cover in the middle of summer, even though penguins obviously live in the summer. We always think over here in the UK of penguins as being winter animals. So we try and think of wintry creatures for the winter issues of the mag. We've got Arctic wolves on the cover of the next issue that's just gone to print. So that's another, although again, wolves live all year round, we always think of Arctic wolves because of where they live as being wintry animals. So that's a really important thing, getting the right animal for the right time of year.
Fantastic. So in the summer you get kind of tropical animals and things, I guess.
Yeah, and we'll have a lovely dolphin or an orca, or we think of try and match things for the time of year. For the Halloween cover, we had a Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, I think I've got that one here. Okay, so let's see. What do we think? Is it a donkey, an elephant, or a velociraptor? So most people are saying velociraptor. Then it's elephant, and only 17% said donkey. So, Tim, which animal does the African penguin sound like?
Sounds like a donkey.
It's the donkey. So well done. That's 17% of children who voted for donkey. I'd like to hear that. Okay, next question, please. Okay, so not only is your magazine about wildlife, it's also got some geographical features. This one is about archaeologist and National Geographic explorer, Nora Shorkey. She's got a favourite discovery. She investigates ancient Egypt, but what's her favourite discovery? Is it religious amulet?
Hello, everyone. I'm going to jump in on Phil's behalf and ask you some poll questions while he gets his internet back up and running. So you've already been voting, but yes, did Nora Shorkey find her favourite find of all time, religious amulets or charms buried under ancient Egyptian homes? Did she find a dark blue precious stone around a skeleton's neck? Or did she find an Egyptian man buried with a bottle of beer? Which one are you going for, Tim? What one would you like to find the most?
Well, she actually found all three of those.
Oh, she found all three.
Yeah, she found all three of them. It's which is her favourite discovery. That's the
thing. Yeah. I think I would quite like to find the Egyptian man buried with a bottle of beer.
Yeah,
that's an amazing find,
isn't it? It's incredible. And some of the items that these archaeologists find when they're making their discoveries are amazing, like card games. It's 100 years since King Tut's tomb was found, and the stuff that they found buried with it, toys, games, packed lunch boxes, amazing, really.
Yeah, it's such normal objects.
Yeah.
So interesting. I'm going to close off the quiz now, so hopefully most of you have had a chance to vote. So most of you have agreed with me. You think that her favourite find of all was an Egyptian man buried with a bottle of beer. So that's 41% of you got that. Sorry, 51% have said a dark blue precious stone around a skeleton's neck. And 8% of you think it was religious amulets. Tim, which one is her favourite?
It was the dark blue precious stone found around a skeleton's neck. Yeah. Can you imagine finding a skeleton that still is wearing jewellery? I mean, that's incredible. Really.
Yeah. Spooky as well, I think.
Yeah, spooky.
We've got one last poll for you, so I'm just going to bring it up now. Here we go. The Perita Moreno Glacier is 1,000 years old, 11,000 years old, or 18,000 years old?
Either way, it's very old.
Very old.
And very cold.
Where in the world is it, Tim? Do you know?
It's in Argentina.
Oh.
I remember flying over Argentina once. I went to the Falkland Islands on assignment for the magazine, and flying over Patagonia in Argentina. That was incredible. And all you could see looking out of the window, glaciers everywhere.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a couple more seconds and then I'll close the poll and we can welcome Phil back officially. Regained his internet. Brilliant. I'll leave it to you, Phil, to take over from here.
Okay, thank you for that. Apologies for dropping off there. Yes, so fantastic. I think 54% of you are correct. 18,000 years old. Amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So well done, everybody, for voting in the poll. Hopefully you got some answers right, but it's just a bit of fun. So if not, that's fun too. Okay, so let's go now to our questions from the viewers. Okay, so we have got a question from Windsor Primary School. What qualities do you need in order to work at National Geographic?
That's a very good question. You need to be a good writer. Most important job of all, I suppose, if you're going to be writing for us. And you need to, if I say to the writers, please can you rewrite that? It's a case of understanding that and going away and doing it, rather than going, no, I think it's right as it is. So it's a case of listening, I suppose, but also trying to get your writing as good as possible in the first place.
Fantastic. Yeah, so work on your writing, but also be open to someone telling you to make improvements, which I think a lot of children can probably relate to being at school. Okay, a lot of children are asking, what's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal is definitely a cheetah. Absolutely love cheetahs. Fastest mammals on the planet, just amazing creatures. And I was very fortunate enough to go to Namibia in Southern Africa on assignment for the magazine, and went to a cheetah conservation project and saw the animals up close. They were just wonderful. I had a very funny experience where one of them was at the dentist, and I had to go in and help at the dentist. And the guy who was the cheetah dentist, he was actually a human dentist in the daytime. So he worked with human patients in the daytime, and then in the evenings he popped over to the cheetah fund and was looking after the cheetahs there.
Fantastic. We have got another question about, do you go on expeditions yourself?
Yes, pre-COVID especially. Not so many now, unfortunately. But I'm inspired by the National Geographic explorers who are out in the field and they're doing their research, be it with plants or cheetahs, for example. But I've been fortunate enough to go to different places around the world to write about those countries. I think the most fascinating was probably the Falkland Islands, actually, because they've got lots of species of penguin living there on sandy beaches. I couldn't believe it. So you're walking along a sandy beach and you've got these metre-tall emperor penguins just tottering along like old men on the beach. It was just incredible. So those are lovely experiences.
Brilliant. Bedlow Primary School is asking, related to that, how many countries have you been to? Have you got a count, or is it too many?
No, I've not counted, actually. I don't know, probably 20 plus, I'd say. I don't know, really.
Fantastic. Okay. Terrington Hall School would like to know, what makes hummingbirds fly backwards?
You know that? Very fast.
Very fast wings. And they also like to know, have you seen any sloths?
I haven't seen a sloth, no. A colleague of mine has seen a sloth and said they're absolutely amazing, but I haven't seen one personally, no. I'd love to see one.
Class 6 would like to know, do you now prefer animals and the planet over football?
Oh, that is a tough one. Yes, I would say, although I do love football.
Fantastic. I think we do have some live questions coming in. Hatchelwood, we've got Jacob at Hatchelwood in Doncaster. Jacob, are you there?
Hi.
Hello, Jacob. Welcome and thank you for joining us. Do you have a question for Tim?
Nice and loud. What is the strangest thing that ever happened in your job?
The strangest thing that ever happened in my job? I remember one day when a man came into the NG Kids office and he had a tarantula with him. and he got the tarantula out of its box and he plonked it on my head. And as you can see, I haven't got any hair. So I had a huge hand-sized tarantula on my head, and then it started crawling over my head. It was a very, very, very strange experience. I've actually got a photograph here that I keep by my desk, and it's me and the tarantula. You can just about see it there. Very big, and you could hear it and feel it crawling. So it was a bit like having a wig that moves. So that's probably the strangest thing ever, I think.
What a fantastic question. Thank you, Jacob, and great to see you. See you later. Okay, brilliant. Okay, we've got a question from Aaron at Westgale Primary. He'd like to know how it feels to be an author and an editor.
How it feels? Good question. It's a very rewarding job, because when you write, especially for kids magazines, when you write for a children's magazine and then you receive the letters and the emails from the children saying that you've inspired them, that's a lovely feeling. All journalism is great, but when you feel as though you are actually inspiring children, especially to go out and do good in their lives, it's lovely. Yeah, there's nothing like it.
Brilliant. So, and related to that, Emily from Radley Primary School is asking, who inspired you to be a writer?
I just did loads of reading as a kid, and I wouldn't say anybody in particular inspired me to be a writer, because I'd always just loved writing. When I was a kid, I just used to write all the time, make up stories. But now I'm working for National Geographic Kids. It is the explorers who are out there and the work that they're doing. They're the people who inspire me. David Attenborough, of course, the amazing David Attenborough. He's an inspiration. But I think the explorers who are working at the moment, be it a paleontologist who's looking for dinosaurs, or Nora, she was looking for just regular ancient Egyptian people. The work that they're doing is fabulous, and it's opening our eyes to the world around us and helping us learn about this wonderful planet that we live on.
Fantastic, thank you. Well, thank you for a great question, Emily. We've got a few people asking this question, but I've spotted Tom, who's in year 5. How long does it take to publish an edition of a magazine?
Well, we print 13 editions every year. So although there are 12 months in a year, we go on a 4-weekly cycle. So every 4 weeks, we produce a magazine. So it takes 4 weeks to get a magazine out. So at the end of each issue, we go straight on to the next one. So it's like a conveyor belt that's never stopping. And when we go on holiday, we still have to get the magazine out. So we have to work out how we're going to fit our holidays in with all the work that we have to do. So it's fun and very exciting, but very busy. So yeah, every 4 weeks we get the magazine out.
So you've got tight deadlines,
yeah,
but it's all very exciting and fun. Fantastic. Yeah. Brilliant. That's a great question. Okay, so we now have another live question. I think we've got 2 questions coming from Forest Fields Primary in Nottingham. Do we have our friends from Forest Fields Primary? Are you there? Good morning.
Good morning.
Who have we got here?
Hello.
Just a second. Can you hear us?
We can hear you.
Brilliant. It's Micheline with the first question.
What's your name? What's your name? Is it Angel?
We swap around. This is Micheline first with her question.
Okay.
You'll see her waiting.
Why did you choose this job?
Why did I choose this job? Because I love animals and nature. That's the main reason. I just love it. And as I say, I was working for a football magazine before that, and then we got permission to produce National Geographic Kids, and so I was like, oh, this is amazing, because although I love football, I do love animals more, and so I started work on that, and then here I am now.
Fantastic. And we have our second question. I think Angel might be there as well. Good morning, Angel.
Hello.
Where did you get the information from?
Where do I get the information from? From
Animals.
speaking to experts. So we do lots of interviews. We interview experts to find out about their animals, and we go on the internet and do our research on the internet. But as I said earlier, we make sure that we look at proper websites. We don't just use websites like Wikipedia. We try and go to the experts' websites and find out what they are researching and what they're talking about. But interviews are great. You speak to an expert and they tell you about this amazing animal that they've worked with. It's so great.
Fantastic. So thank you to Forest Fields Primary School. It's great to see you this morning. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got a question here. What's the strangest animal that you've written about, Tim?
Oh, wow. So many of them. I would say probably the blobfish.
Okay, tell us
It's a
more
very,
about
very,
that.
very strange animal that lives at the bottom of the sea. Looks a bit like me on a miserable day. Big nose, no hair. It looks miserable, and it is an incredible animal. Very deep. If you go online after and Google the blobfish, then you'll see what it looks like.
The blobfish, brilliant. Okay, and we've got a few people asking this question, including Ellen Brook Primary. What's your favourite book?
My favourite book, Emily Bronte, Wuthering Heights, is my favourite book. Love that book.
Brilliant. Do you have a favourite children's book as well?
Do I have a favourite children's book? I love anything by Cressida Cowell, actually. I do love the Train Your Dragons. She was very kind, and she wrote us a little message for our 200th birthday, which you might be able to see behind me. But yeah, I love Cressida Cowell. And I read the Harry Potter books religiously when I was a little bit younger.
Okay, brilliant. Have you met David Attenborough? Somebody's asking.
I haven't, sadly. I'd love to meet him, but I haven't.
Hilltop Primary asking, what's the favourite piece that you've written? Do you have a piece that stands out, that was a bit of a scoop perhaps, or something that really sticks out in your memory? It's a really fantastic piece.
I think pieces that you write when you go on assignment are really nice, when you can actually describe what you've seen on paper. So when I went to Ecuador, that was great to be able to write about the amazing animals and the wildlife and the plants over there. Huge leaves that are bigger than people. But I think the story that we wrote about the climate change activists, really important. Just getting the message across that kids can make a difference and how children are really, really important.
Brilliant, thank you. Lucas from, I think it's Lacato School, is asking, what's the most dangerous animal that you've been near, perhaps as part of your job or otherwise? What's the most dangerous animal?
Wow. Boa constrictor, probably. We had boa constrictors came into the office as well, and they were put around our necks. Had to be very careful. You were like, no, please don't squeeze.
So people, it seems like people are bringing a lot of creatures into your office.
We do from time to time, yeah. But pre-COVID especially, yeah, we'd get experts coming in, which was brilliant to meet the animals.
Fantastic. I don't know if this is the same answer as before with the tarantula, but what's the funniest thing that's happened to you? Is Isabel asking from Somerville Primary.
The funniest thing, I would say that it's got to be.
Yeah.
Really. Everybody else was falling about laughing. Ellen Brook Primary is asking you, what equipment do you take if you're going out on an expedition or to interview somebody? What equipment do you take with you? Take a camera. If you're going out on an expedition, it's amazing what pictures you can get from a mobile phone, actually. You don't need to have an amazing big camera with a huge long lens these days. You can get some good pictures on your mobile phones. But I always take if I'm going on assignment, I always take a big camera with me as well, but quite often use just my mobile phone. And a notebook and a pen, really, really, really super important, so that you can make notes. And the other thing about having a phone is that they've got a voice recorder on. So when you're speaking, when you're interviewing people, you can just interview and record the conversations that way, which is nice. In the old days, you used to have to take a separate dictaphone with you, and you come with lots of different bits of equipment. But nowadays, it's basically all in one mobile phone, which is fantastic. But a notebook and a pen, I would say.
Yeah, so yeah, kind of the old school stuff to back yourself up with the notebook and pen in case your internet.
Absolutely. And if your phone fails, you've got the notebooks. Yeah.
Children are very interested in the dangerous animals. Bobby would like to know if you've ever been bitten, and William C from St Joseph's School would like to know if you've ever felt in danger from any of the creatures or animals that you've met.
Ooh, I've never felt in danger, but I have been bitten. I've been bitten by fire ants in Borneo. They were very, very painful. Lots and lots of little red ants were all crawling over my feet, and I got bitten by them. And it did literally feel like you were being burnt. So they get their name accurately. I think that's the only thing I've been bitten by, really, other than my cat.
Yes. I think someone was asking if you had a pet, so you've just answered that question.
Yes, I do. A little cat called Twinkle, who I don't know where she is. I was hoping she might pop up and say hello, but she's gone to sleep, I think, unfortunately. But yeah, I love my pussy cat.
Fantastic. Olive is asking, have you ever explored in the sea?
Yes, I've been snorkeling, but I've never been scuba diving, but I would love to go scuba diving. But snorkeling, great fun. When you've got your head under the water with a mask on and you can see clearly, it's beautiful. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in the UK or whether you're somewhere with clearer seas, you can still see stuff even in the UK. Our woods are quite rich in wildlife, really.
Yeah, fantastic. And Wharton School are there asking, what's your favourite sea creature?
I would say my favourite sea creature is definitely a dolphin. I love dolphins. I'd love to swim wild with dolphins, because there's a big thing about people swimming with dolphins in pools. That's something that is not a good idea. But if you go into the sea and then you happen to come across some dolphins, that would be amazing to swim with that. That's never happened, but I'd love that to happen.
Brilliant. So related to that is Bledlow Ridge School is asking, what animal would you like to see that you've maybe not seen? You mentioned the sloth earlier, but perhaps it's something else.
I'd love to see a sloth, yeah. I'd also like to see Japanese snow monkeys. They would be amazing. Never been to Japan, so I'd love to go to Japan, but to see Japanese macaques in icy water, well, it's warm water, isn't it? But they're all covered in snow when you look at the photographs. Mm-hmm. See them warming themselves in a hot spring, that'd be amazing. I'd love to see that.
Brilliant. Have you ever been to the jungle, is asking Colt at Westglade.
I have, yes. I've been to Borneo in Southeast Asia and been to the jungle there. Rainforests are amazing because they're very noisy. You don't quite appreciate how noisy a rainforest is until you've been to one. And the insects are very, very loud, but also the frogs, everything's loud. It's amazing. And then when it rains, it doesn't just rain, it really tips it down. Just fabulous.
Okay, so West Durham School is asking, what's the most exotic creature you've seen? Was that something you saw there, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so. I saw a really, really amazing proboscis monkey. Very, very strange creatures. They were leaping about the canopy in the Borneo jungle. And then when I went to Ecuador, just some incredible insects, beautiful, beautiful butterflies and birds, hummingbirds. Somebody asked a question earlier about how a hummingbird flies backwards. When you see them in flight and they're just hovering over a flower, it's amazing. And their beaks are the same shape to fit particular plants. So they only feed off one particular type of flower, and their bills have adapted to that plant. So they just hover, fly in, feed, hop out. It's just incredible.
See, yeah, that sounds great. Alana would like to know, where's the furthest you've travelled?
The furthest?
Mm-hmm.
Probably New Zealand, I would have thought. I've never really done the maths on how far that is, but I'd say probably New Zealand.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so I don't know if this is because you were talking about insects and jungles, etc. But Holy Rude Primary would like to know, would you ever go on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here? And if you did, would you be any good at it?
No, because I'm not a celebrity. But I probably would do it, actually. But I'd be terrified of lots of things. I'm very scared of heights. So if there was any, dropping out of a plane or a helicopter at the start, no, be awful. Any tree climbing exploits, no. But I'd probably give it a go. Yeah, eating some strange things would be very, very odd. I don't know how they do it.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, I think we've got time just for maybe one or two more questions. Leybourne, I think it's Leybourne Chase School, would like to know, what's the most important message that you'd give out about climate change?
Climate change is real. Lots of people say it isn't real, but it is real, and we need to take it very seriously. But we can do things to help slow it down and stop it. We don't want to be all doom and gloom. I think that's the most important thing. There is a solution, and kids are the solution. Kids making changes and helping out. Kids putting pressure on politicians, or kids putting pressure on big businesses. We can do it together, and by signing up for an organisation such as Kids versus Plastic, or helping us out, it's really important. And kids do have a voice, and they can make a difference with climate change.
Fantastic, great answer. And the last question is from Ellenbrook Primary, and they'd like to know, if you could be any animal, which one would you be and why?
I think I'd probably be Twinkle, actually, my cat, because she just loves to go out and then vanishes for days on end and just explores and has loads of fun, and then comes back for her food and goes to sleep. Oh, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think I know where you're coming from. I think our cat's the same. I think I'd love to just lounge around all day like he does.
Either that or a bird that could soar really high and get amazing views. Although I'm scared of heights, I think to be a bird would be brilliant, wouldn't it? To see everything from another perspective, it would be great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. So I think you've given loads of interesting facts there, loads for the children watching to think about, and I think you've really inspired children to go out into the world, be curious, find out more, and that can translate into writing and also reading as well. Explore the world through books and through magazines, etc. So a massive thank you to Tim, a massive thank you to National Geographic Kids magazine. Hopefully the children watching can get hold of a copy and have a look through. And thank you for your questions as well. I'm sorry we didn't get to answer them all, though they have been flooding past my eyes here. So, Tim, do you have a final message for everybody watching, perhaps about reading and writing, exploring the world, just to leave us on an inspirational note?
Yeah, just as you've said, Phil, just get out there and explore. Don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're interested in something, then ask questions about it, and do some writing. I was having a look in the basement the other day, and I found this old scrapbook. I don't know whether you can see it, that I made when I was 13 years old, and I was having a look through it, and I don't know whether you can see, but I'd even typed some of the stuff, little leaflets that I'd got from trips out. Half of them are falling apart now. But just write as much as you can, make notes, and put your thoughts down, and ask questions. That's the most important thing, really. Just ask lots of questions. And don't be afraid to ask difficult questions as well. That question about climate change, you've got to put people to the test and ask them what they believe. And kids are the future.
Fantastic. Yeah, great message to finish on. So thanks once again to Tim Herbert, and thank you to everybody for joining us this morning. I hope you enjoyed Non-Fiction November, and we hope to see you again soon.